November 1783. The war was over, but for thousands in New York City, it was the end of everything familiar. Crowds of loyalists, families, merchants, farmers, gathered at the docks, faces marked by fear and loss. They had stood by King George III, and now, branded as traitors, they were refugees in their own land. The last British ships waited, their only escape from the anger of their former neighbors. These weren't just soldiers, they were ordinary people, forced to abandon their homes and livelihoods. Their businesses seized, their friends turned enemies. They faced jeers from triumphant patriots. For them, the revolution was a civil war that shattered lives and identities. Imagine a mother clutching her children, staring at the city she must leave behind. Their property confiscated, their names blacklisted. They sailed toward the unknown, Nova Scotia, England, or anywhere but here. This was not a choice, but a desperate flight from persecution and violence. Over 80,000 would ultimately flee, America's first refugees. Their departure tore the fabric of colonial society. They left behind a nation eager to write its own heroic story, one that had no place for those who chose the losing side. Their voices were silenced, their sacrifices forgotten, but their story is a crucial part of the American Revolution. It reminds us that history is never as simple as winners and losers. The Loyalists' journey is a powerful reminder of the cost of civil war. Their exile marked the true end of the revolution. History is written by the victors, and the American Revolution is no exception. We celebrate the patriots, but the Loyalists, up to a fifth of the population, are often forgotten. Their story is not just about defeat, but about conviction and the price of division. Why does their story matter today? Because it reveals the true complexity of nation building. The revolution was not a unanimous uprising, it was a civil war that split families and communities. Loyalists weren't just elites, they were farmers, merchants, immigrants who believed loyalty to the crown meant stability. Ignoring them creates a myth of unity that never existed. Loyalist militias fought in nearly every campaign, believing they were the true patriots. Their persecution, property seized, rights denied, public humiliation, shows the dangers of political hatred. After the war, many were driven from their homes, forced to start over in foreign lands. Their experience shaped not only the United States, but also Canada, where many resettled. The Loyalist story warns us about the cost of silencing dissent. It's a lesson that remains relevant in any divided society. Remembering them helps us understand the revolution's true legacy. Their fate is a cautionary tale for our own times. Before the revolution, most colonists were proud British subjects. The idea of breaking away from the empire seemed unthinkable, but the French and Indian War left Britain in debt, and Parliament expected the colonies to help pay. The Stamp Act of 1765 was the first spark. Taxes on paper goods, imposed without colonial representation. Protests erupted, and the act was repealed, but new taxes followed. The Townshend Acts, the Tea Act. Each measure deepened the divide. Patriots saw a plot to strip their liberties. Loyalists believed Parliament had the right to govern. They feared rebellion would lead to chaos. The Boston Tea Party in 1773 was a turning point. Patriots celebrated. Loyalists recoiled at the lawlessness. Britain's harsh response, the coercive acts, pushed both sides further apart. The colonies were now split, those demanding liberty, and those fearing anarchy. The revolution was not inevitable. It was the result of escalating mistrust and division. Neighbors became enemies, and the house was truly divided. The seeds of civil war had been sown. The stage was set for conflict. When war broke out in 1775, choosing sides became a matter of survival. Loyalists didn't just watch, they fought for the king. At times, more Americans served the crown than Washington's army. Loyalist regiments like the King's Royal Regiment of New York and the Queen's Rangers fought fellow colonists. They served as guides, spies, and soldiers in key battles from Savannah to Charleston. The southern backcountry saw brutal civil war, neighbors raiding and burning each other's farms. Leaders like John Butler and his Rangers, with Iroquois allies, brought terror to the frontier. Patriots saw them as villains. Loyalists saw themselves as defenders of order. The surrender at Yorktown in 1781 sealed their fate. Promises to protect Loyalist property were ignored. For the king's friends, peace meant exile. Behind the battles, Loyalists paid a personal price. Families were torn apart. Like Grace Groden Galloway, left homeless when her husband fled. Women ran farms, acted as spies, and smuggled messages, their efforts largely erased from history. Loyalty had many motives: honor, self-interest, fear, or simply a desire for stability. Recent immigrants, like Scottish Highlanders, kept their oaths to the king. Merchants feared economic ruin if ties to Britain were cut. Government officials and clergy depended on the crown. Some just wanted to avoid patriot violence. For many, British rule seemed safer than rebellion. A farmer in New York cared more for his family's safety than distant politics. The Loyalists were a cross-section of colonial society, not a single bloc. Their choices were complex, deeply human, and often tragic. Their suffering is a reminder of the true cost of revolution. The war's impact was felt in every home. For enslaved African Americans, the revolution offered a different hope: freedom. In 1775, Lord Dunmore promised liberty to any enslaved person who joined the British. Thousands risked everything to reach British lines, seeking a chance at independence. Men like Harry Washington escaped bondage to fight for the king. Black Loyalists served as soldiers, guides, and laborers, facing battle, disease, and the threat of re-enslavement. If captured, they risked execution or being sold to harsher masters. By war's end, as many as 20,000 African Americans had sought freedom with the British. After the British defeat, their fate was uncertain. Washington demanded their return, but British commanders refused. The Book of Negroes recorded the names of about 3,000 Black Loyalists, granted freedom and passage to Nova Scotia. Their journey was fraught with hardship, but it was a fight for a new kind of liberty. Some later left for Sierra Leone, seeking a true home. Their story is a testament to the revolution's unfulfilled promises. For them, loyalty to the crown was a path to freedom. Their struggle reshaped the meaning of independence. For Native Americans, the revolution was a catastrophe. Most tribes saw the British as their best hope to protect ancestral lands. The 1763 Royal Proclamation promised an Indian reserve, but settlers ignored it. Patriots openly sought westward expansion, threatening native homelands. Mohawk leader Joseph Brant rallied the Iroquois to the British cause, believing the crown would honor its promises. Brant's warriors, allied with Loyalists, fought fiercely on the frontier. The American response was devastating. General Sullivan's campaign destroyed Iroquois towns. When Britain surrendered, it abandoned its native allies. The Treaty of Paris ignored them, handing their lands to the new United States. The centuries-old alliance, the Covenant chain, was shattered. Brant led his people into exile in Canada, betrayed by the king he served. Their loss was total: land, home, and trust. The war's end sparked a mass migration. For Loyalists, life in the new United States became impossible. Rights stripped, property lost, violence constant. Around 80,000 fled, reshaping North America. Over 40,000 went to British North America, founding new communities in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Quebec. Their arrival led to the creation of Upper Canada, modern Ontario, and a distinct English-speaking society. Loyalists brought anti-American sentiment and loyalty to the crown, shaping Canada's identity. Some, like Joseph Galloway, went to England, but never felt at home. Black Loyalists, facing racism in Nova Scotia, helped found Freetown in Sierra Leone. Their journey spanned continents, from American slavery to African freedom. The Loyalist migration changed the map and character of Canada. Their legacy endures in the societies they built. Exile became the foundation of new beginnings. The Loyalist story is more than a forgotten chapter. It's a lesson in loyalty, division, and the cost of conflict. Both patriots and Loyalists believed they were fighting for America's future. Their tragedy shows that loyalty is a matter of perspective, and history is rarely black and white. The persecution and exile of Loyalists left scars on the new nation. The myth of unity masked deep divisions born of civil war. Today, we see similar fractures: political polarization, refugees, and the struggle to live together. The Loyalists' fate warns us of the dangers of silencing dissent. Listening to their voices gives us a fuller, more honest history. They lost their place in America's story, but their experience endures. Every victory has a cost. The birth of one nation can mean the end of a world for another. Their story survives as a quiet reminder of the true price of revolution.